Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Jared Lee, and I'm joined, as usual, by my lovely wife, Jamie Lee. So, Jamie, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, wow.
That was terrible. That was supposed to be my Stitch voice.
I
that
thought
was
Stitch.
not good.
I thought it was right here.
Sorry, I tried my best.
It's not a bad Stitch.
Alhambla's family.
It could be worse.
I mean, it's not great. It's not great.
I don't think you're going to...
Don't blow smoke.
I don't think you're going to get the role, but it's not that... I mean, I think it's better than what I would be able to do.
Thank you. Thank you. But I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Apparently, I'm judging Stitch impersonations, but hopefully everyone had a nice Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, it was hot. It was hot here.
Well, it's Florida.
Shocking, though.
So,
no.
Yeah.
I know a lot of places, like back where in Midwest and Missouri, it was raining for like 4 days straight. Like,
yeah.
It was really miserable.
Well, I remember in Missouri, almost always on Memorial Day would rain.
Isn't that crazy?
Like almost every single year. So down here, it hasn't that much on Memorial Day. Like obviously rain's a thing in Florida, but it hasn't really started that like daily rain that you typically get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just that point where it's hot and humid now. Like the humidity set in a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Now when you go outside, you're like, oh, it's here. Okay.
It's here.
And it's going to be here till November.
It's like a warm blanket just sitting on your skin.
A little bit. That's kind of how it goes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just a little bit. We also went and saw, which we're going to talk about actually. We don't do a lot of movie reviews, but we're going to talk about Lilo and Stitch. We went and saw that. Took our kids to go see it. And our son actually sat through the entire movie.
I was so proud of him. But he was very interested. So, I was like, if there's any movie that's going to do it, it's going to be this one.
It's kind of like me. If I'm interested, I'll do it. But it's like that with school. If I didn't care, I was like, I just don't have any motivation to do this.
I get that. I get it.
He comes by it naturally. But we do have some news to talk about. We have some news on the Disney Starlight Parade that's coming this summer. We actually have a date for that. Entry at Hollywood Studios is changing a little bit. And we talked about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party pricing. Apparently that doesn't matter to some people. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, we're going to do a little bit of a Stitch review, a review of Lilo and Stitch, and then the history of Stitch in Disney World. And perhaps if he's...
And what's going to happen with him going forward?
I imagine there may be something there. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do that, just want to remind everybody, if you are watching us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're not watching us on YouTube and you would like to, you can catch us over on CTM Podcast on YouTube. That is the handle there you can use to watch video versions of the show. And of course, if you're watching on good old trusty audio podcast form, you can find us on all the major platforms. We're on all of those. Just ask you to please subscribe and leave us a review if you are able to. We greatly appreciate that. Helps us continue to grow the show. And of course, if you want some fantastic theme park apparel, fresh designs, comfortable shirts that will last you a long time, you can check out Capture the Magic Apparel over at ctmapparelco.com. We have a brand new Epic Universe shirt release. We've got a lot of the classics in the shop as well. And again, everything is hand printed by us. We don't use third-party printers. So it's very high quality. Ship it out to you. And, we try, if something's wrong with the shirt, we make it right. We work with people on that end. And also purchasing through us helps us, continue to keep the lights on around here and everything like that. So if you head over to ctmapparelco.com, use the promo code It's Gonna Be May, because that's Jamie's favorite still. You can get 20% off of your order. Plus, if you order $49 or more, you get free shipping on top of that. So you can get some good savings there. So again, ctmapparelco.com and use the promo code It's Gonna Be May. So, all right, well, let's get to the news. And the first one we have is the Disney Starlight Parade is beginning in July.
Yeah, we finally have a starting date. So starting July 20th, you can see the Disney Starlight Dream the Night Away Parade at Magic Kingdom. This is the first nighttime parade outside of the Halloween and Christmas parties since Main Street Electrical Parade ended in 2016. So 9 years. It's been 9 years.
That's kind of insane.
Yeah. I mean, we really didn't expect them to do anything really like in the COVID. I was called the COVID years. Like, obviously, they're not going to do that, but I feel like it's time. Let's bring it back, and it's happening. So, the parade float's themes are Blue Fairy from Pinocchio, Peter Pan, Frozen 2, Encanto, Moana, Coco, princesses in general, the Wish movie, Finding Nemo, Cars, Monsters Inc., Toy Story, and then a Mickey and Friends float at the very end.
Okay.
So it'll be good. It'll be good. And we got an early look at some of the merchandise that'll be available, including a shirt, ears. There's like a blanket. there's a pin, and there are these bubble wands that kind of look like swords. Actually, I don't even know what it's supposed to be. It's just a very long bubble wand, and it syncs up to the parade. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And the colors, they're like blue and like light purple kind of, and silvery. It's giving Disney's 100th anniversary that we just had.
Wonder if maybe it's some leftover merchandise they repurposed.
I don't think so. It's a completely new design. They just are using the same colors. I mean, I get it, like nighttime stars, blue. That's fine.
Right.
But some things to keep in mind is that extended evening hours have been moved from Magic Kingdom to Animal Kingdom. And so I think that's just to accommodate the parade and the fireworks in the later hours. And we talked about that, I think, last week. And then park hours right now for July 20th are listed as 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. There's early entry in there, but closing at 10 p.m. with Happily Ever After fireworks at 10 p.m. A parade time is not listed, but just thinking like how they do other things, I would think that they would do the parade. We were thinking they would do it twice.
That's the rumor that I've heard, is that, kind of like how they do the parties. 2 different parade times, one earlier, one later, with the fireworks kind of sandwiched in there.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're going to have to do the parade. I mean, if they want it dark, it's got to be like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean,
11 maybe?
Yeah, and everything I was hearing too, the park was to be open until probably at least 11, if not midnight.
So you think those hours will change right now?
I think they probably will, because I don't know how you would do the fireworks and then the parade if it's a nighttime parade. Because again, it doesn't get dark in Florida until
9:30.
I mean, it's late.
Yeah,
so
is late.
I mean, yeah, if they're waiting until the fireworks to do the fireworks till it gets dark, you're gonna have to also have time for the parade also.
But that's only if they do 2 parades. They could do just one.
They could, but even then, I mean, yeah, I feel like that's still pushing it. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if those park hours change.
Yeah, that's just what is listed right now if you go to the website. So we'll have to see if that changes. And then for annual pass holders, they did change some of the rules with park reservations starting on July 20th.
Because that's still a thing.
Yeah. So basically,
2025.
basically the rules of you don't have to have a park reservation if you go into the park after 2 p.m. At Magic Kingdom, that's no longer valid. You have to have a park reservation if you're going to Magic Kingdom pretty much any time of the day, like all day. If you don't even go till 5 o'clock, you got to have a park reservation. I assume, and they didn't specify this like completely, but I assume that park hopping is still okay. So like if you have a park reservation for like Hollywood Studios and you want to hop over to Magic Kingdom later, I think that's still okay. It doesn't seem like they're putting restrictions on that, but that could change.
I mean,
I don't know.
I understand if they're doing this for like the early part of it when it's premiering. Okay, you're trying to prevent. If this is an ongoing thing, because again, this was one of the things after COVID is like you couldn't park hop, you couldn't do certain things, and they've barely slowly started coming back. I would assume the other parks aren't affected. That would be insane if they were. And surely this is going to be a short-term thing, because if you're just not going to have it where you can't park hop the Magic Kingdom. I don't know. That just seems like you're going to have a lot more. It just makes things, again, even more complicated.
Well, and also something to think about is that the parade will be going on every night until August 16th, 15th, whenever the first Halloween party is.
Right.
Because once the Halloween party starts, then you've got 3 days a week of Halloween parties and only 4 days of the new parade. So I think that they're starting this now, and I think that will continue through the holiday season because of that, because there's going to be less opportunities to see the parade.
Yeah, this also could be just one of those things like they don't know what the crowds will be. If it's not needed, I would assume they would just drop it, but I
hope so.
It's I saw that and I was just like, oh, okay. It's almost like a mini COVID comeback of all the things that we're doing here, reservations and no park hopping and all that stuff. But
I get it. You don't want to be overrun with just annual pass holders.
Well, I get it. Yeah,
capacity.
and I get it if it's the early part, you're just not sure. But if you get in there and it's not that bad, I mean, it could easily just be dropped. But
right, so
we'll see. But yeah, it only affects annual pass holders. So that's
they just said annual pass holders. They didn't say anybody else that requires park reservations it's not that many. Like there's just a few, like if you have just like evening tickets or like comped tickets, sometimes they'll have you do park reservations. But if you have like a ticket package with Disney and you have like a 5-day hopper or whatever, you don't need park reservations, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. I mean, do you think they ever at this point get rid of the park reservation system for annual pass holders?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
I've said for a long time, when they had it for everybody, I was like, they wanted to do this long ago because it gave them a ton of info. But the fact that it's stuck around as long as it has for annual pass holders, I think they may try and keep this just forever because, again, that is the group of people that they never know when's going to show up, and requiring them to do the park reservation system gives them a lot of information.
I know. That's
and they also know that's the audience they could do it with too.
I know. I mean, I totally understand why they do it. But I don't know. I don't know if they'll keep it forever.
I think it's something, unless something changes, and let's say see a drastic drop off of annual pass holders or something affects it, and one of the things they find out is the park reservation system, like it would literally just be competition or just, people really hating it for them to drop it.
Yeah.
But I think at this point it's just become so like normalized.
Yeah, pretty much. But anyway, that's pretty much all we know about the parade right now, which is a lot. The floats aren't even done yet. They just got them delivered a couple weeks ago. So it'll be exciting to see this kick off in July.
Yeah, I mean,
hot and sweaty in the Magic Kingdom.
People have been asking for it. It's better than a daytime parade when you're really hot and sweaty. At least at night, it's not as hot. So
I loved Main Street Electrical. I loved Spectro Magic.
Hey, it only took 10 years and a brand new theme park being opened by their biggest competitor to force them to do a nighttime parade. So
hey, man.
For those of you that don't like anything about Universal Epic Universe, you should thank them for that, because this is why they're doing it. I don't think they would be doing this if it wasn't for that.
Maybe not. But anyway, there you go.
All right, next story we have is early entry at Hollywood Studios is changing a little bit.
Just a little. And this just has to do with the Toy Story Land checkpoint. So previously, if you were going toward Toy Story Land for early entry, you would have a checkpoint between Walt Disney Presents and the Toy Story Land marquee. So that little like long walk over there. Well, it's been moved to the Hollywood Studios archway into Animation Courtyard. And that's usually where people that are just regular, like non-early entry guests would line up.
Mm-hmm.
But they're having everybody go through that way. And my guess is they're just anticipating that the crowds for the new Mermaid show might be high. And so they're just checking there to be able to get in line for that, because it's pretty popular right now. I mean, it's only been open. This is only the second day.
Right.
So I'm guessing that is why they're changing it. I don't know, but if you're going to Toy Story Land in your early entry, do not go past Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway into like the little walkway. You got to go around.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be the only reason I could see as to why they're doing it.
Yeah, but the other checkpoints are the same. So if you're like going to Rise of the Resistance and stuff. So
okay.
Yeah, just FYI on that.
I'm sure they'll tell you too if you didn't know day of.
Absolutely. There's just people using the 2-finger points.
I would sure they'd probably block those stairs off in the first thing in the morning, I would guess. Or have cast members over there.
Yeah, probably.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
But all right, next story we have is, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. The prices went up on the top end by $30, being about $229 for the busiest times at the party. And it's sold out for Halloween night.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly. So the tickets didn't go on sale until the 22nd for everybody. Like it opened up to hotel guests, I think a week before that. But the 22nd, I believe, was when it opened up for everybody. And as soon as that happened, they just started selling out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, we talked about, we both said they're going to sell these out.
Mm-hmm.
If the people that are also complaining about the prices are buying these tickets, I don't know what to tell you, because if Disney raises prices and they sell out, they're probably going to raise prices next year. So
Disney's going to Disney, and that's how they do it.
I mean, from like we talked about before, from a business standpoint, if I have a product and I keep raising the price and it keeps selling, what is my motivation to not do that?
It's valid.
I mean, other
Yeah.
than you're going to have a small a contingent of people that are going to complain about the prices, but obviously not enough people are that mad if they're selling out on Halloween night.
It's true. It's true.
Although I just couldn't imagine paying $1,000 for a family of 4 essentially to do this party.
That's a lot. That is a lot.
I just like, it's a fun time, but like we were saying, like I don't think we're going to do it this year because it doesn't.
Probably not.
It doesn't change year to year. I mean, it's a very consistent party, which helps it, but it also like repeatability is not as much as there's not like Halloween Horror Nights or other events where things change drastically every year. And I just don't, it's a fun time, but I also just don't think it's worth, if you're going to go toward Halloween, like $1,000 for a family of 4, I think there's better things you could spend your money on Disney property better than that party at $1,000 for like a whole family.
It just depends on what you really love about the party. If you've been before, like if there's, you just really, really love it and your whole family does, then okay, obviously, you do you. But yeah, for us, spending $1,000 on the party, if it was the 4 of us going, no. I mean, we've done it,
I also remember not that long ago, you could go for around $400 for a whole family. So,
those were the days.
like when I say not long ago, I mean like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like it was 15 years ago. It was like literally like right before COVID.
Yeah. Yep.
Kind of crazy, yep. But yeah, I was not, when I saw that headline, I was like, I'm not too surprised by that. So, all right. And the last little thing we have here is there are a few things to know about the new shows that are happening at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah. So the new Little Mermaid show, Musical Adventure, and Villains Unfairly Ever After. I don't know if those are the exact names, but I'm just gonna say, you know what I'm talking about. Villain show, Mermaid show.
Yes.
They started on Tuesday, and they both have a runtime of 18 minutes, which I thought was kind of short.
I was assuming it'd be 20 minutes plus.
Right.
That's what most shows typically are.
Right.
But, yeah.
Neither are using Lightning Lane at this time. So if you do want to see the shows, you're going to have to wait in line, like a long line. The Mermaid show probably will go Lightning Lane. I mean, the old version did. It had Fast Pass. I'm not sure about Villains, though, because, I mean, it's in the old place that the Cars show was in, the Lightning McQueen. And it never, I don't think it had. Maybe did it? I don't remember.
I don't think it did.
I cannot remember, but I mean, they may keep it no Lightning Lane for a while. I don't know. And shows in general, I don't like to use Lightning Lane on anyway because it's a show.
Well, and like the early part, there's going to be a lot of people going to because it's new.
Yeah.
But you give it a couple of weeks or a couple of months, like it'll just become like walk up and go to the next showing of it. I mean, typically you don't need Lightning Lanes for the shows just because they happen so frequently,
right?
That even if you missed one or it's full that one, you can wait 30 minutes or something and get the next one. And
the Villain show is scheduled every day. They do exact like show times. Mermaid show is not. So there you go. There's another difference between the two. So
what's the Mermaid show?
It's just continuous.
Oh, they just keep going over and over again?
Yeah. That's how they, I mean, I think that's how they used to do it. But Villain show is scheduled. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. At least that's what it is on the website. So that's just information for you that are coming this summer or soon for the new shows.
There you go. All right.
There you go.
Well, that's all the news that we have. So we're going to talk about Stitch. Like we said, we went and saw the movie. We don't do a lot of movie reviews, but every once in a while we do them. And Lilo and Stitch live action movie came out. And then we're also going to talk about what this could mean coming into the parks, because I have a hard time thinking like this movie is going to make $1 billion and Stitch has really become insanely popular. Like it's a very interesting thing with this movie. Like it came out in 2002. The
first animated one, 2002.
Yeah. And I don't think it like was really that huge of a hit at the time.
It wasn't huge.
But like as time has gone on, like Stitch has become a very like prominent character. And like our daughter, like most kids around her age, like 8 years old, like love Stitch. So it's just become this interesting little property that's gotten almost like what you would say like a cult classic. Like, there's movies where they don't do that great in the movie theaters, but it gets us following and then it has this resurgence. So it's an interesting property. So I think I think there's some obvious things you could do in the parks that they may probably do. But we'll talk about the movie real quick. So What did you think about the original cartoon?
So I had seen the original movie all the way through maybe once years ago and then again recently. So like it's not one of those movies I would watch over and over again. So I wasn't like uber super duper familiar with everything, if that makes sense. Like I didn't remember what some of the characters' names were. Like I knew like Nani and Lilo and everything, but like all the alien names, I didn't remember any of those.
I remember the characters. I don't remember their specific names per se.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So me going into it was almost like not like brand new, like because I knew the story, I knew the movie, but I didn't go into it as like a super duper diehard fan because personally I'm not. Our kids are, but I'm personally not a huge fan of Stitch.
Like Stitch,
I like it because our kids like it. And
yeah,
that's it.
Stitch as a character it kind of reminds me of like the Minions, where he's just like the character itself is probably more fun or has more of a following than the movie itself. I think it's mostly based off of just Stitch.
I think you're right.
Which it's like he's this alien that's just mischievous. Like okay,
yeah,
makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about the original. Like I've seen it a handful of times, like because our kids watch it, and like it's okay. Like, it's not the best. I don't think it's the best animated movie that Disney's ever made. Like, it was okay, but yeah.
The message is good.
Yeah, and like it's, the message is good. And I do think it's a lot. Again, a lot of it is just Stitch himself is the reason as to why it's kind of gotten more popular over time. But okay, the live action remake. What did you think overall about it?
I thought it was very entertaining. It was very cute. The little girl, she was adorable. I thought the girl that played Nani was good too. It was nice to see some of the actors that voiced the original characters be in this one as well, which I didn't realize that Tia Carrere was in it. Was played Nani.
You had said afterwards
I didn't know that.
why she was in it, and I was like, she voiced Nani originally,
yeah,
right?
And I didn't know that. I was like, oh. But it's the same guy that voiced Stitch from the animated movie. He was doing this movie too, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I like the setting being in Hawaii. Like that kind of stuff. And it's just more a lot of silly slapstick humor with Stitch and all that stuff, combined with a serious story about a sister struggling raising her sister. You know what I mean? Like,
right. It's like loss and death and
a lot of serious stuff.
Yeah.
And like this, it's just the combination of those two. So I thought it was good. Our kids, they loved it. They loved that movie. Yeah. It was great. There were some things that changed. At first, it didn't bother me. Coming out of the theater, I was like, "Oh, it's great." I didn't care. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, "Huh, okay, maybe not. Maybe not change it so much. We didn't need to change it, but that's just me. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, so I'm being purposely vague. But what did you think? Like, did you like the movie?
Yeah, and like this will all be spoiler-free stuff here. We'll talk about. So I'm not, if you listen to the show for very long, I'm not a fan of live action remakes. I think they're lazy. I think it's a cheap money grab, usually speaking, and I'm tired of sequels and just remakes of stuff. I want more originality in movies and TV shows. But with that said, I actually think it's one of the better live action remakes they've done because it was fairly true to the source material. Most of it. And that, like you were saying, they made some changes, which I agree after the movie thinking about it, and I was like, I don't like that. Like there's a main part, they kind of change it up a little bit. I feel like it was a very modern day take on that story and like what they would perceive to do now versus what you would have done, at least historically. Mm-hmm. Put it that way. It had a lot of comedy bits in it. I think the aliens were funny because you had Zach Galifianakis and who's the other guy?
I don't remember his name. The only reason I knew who he was because of an episode of Black Mirror or two episodes of there, and I remember seeing him and going, "Oh gosh, he's funny." Billy
Magnuson, who played Pleakley, and then you got Zach Galifianakis played Jumba Jokuba, I think is how you say his name. Yeah. So they were the two aliens. They were pretty funny, and like their interaction very similar to like the cartoon. Yeah, I mean there was a lot of the same story elements, like the main things that people remember from the movies, like the beach scene and things like that. Like those things are in there. So like it was fairly true with some slight changes. I think they did take more time. Like I don't think the cartoon really delved too much into like the fact that their parents were gone. They kind of mentioned it, but it didn't really have these like heavy scenes about it too much, if I remember correctly.
They do. They do.
But I feel like in the remake they put there was more of an emotional emphasis on that and like really how hard it was for Nani.
That they've really played into that. How it was a very big struggle for her and how she was sacrificing a lot to be able to.
Yeah, because they really played it up as like she's also still grieving. Because they never said when the assumption is her parents.
It wasn't that long.
It wasn't that long at this point. So like you're still grieving but trying to adjust to this new reality. So I feel like it was a good like. They spent time on that stuff, but it wasn't too much or too little. So it gave a little like weight and gravity to everything. So I think that part was pretty good. You know, in terms of making from a cartoon, like again, I think there's struggles in making a cartoon into a live action remake just in general, especially with a blue alien. Like it was funny because like in the cartoon, nobody really questions that it's clearly not a dog.
Right.
They're just like, is that a dog? And they're like, yeah, sure. And you're just like, it's almost like a tongue in cheek thing. So like it's not super like realistic in that way. But I did feel overall it was entertaining. I think again, live action remakes for that goes. I think it's one of the better ones they've done, and this will make a ton of money.
Oh my gosh! And like to me, it felt more of the type of movies that Disney put out in the 90s.
Yes.
It felt like a 90s movie that came out.
Well, it wasn't, you didn't have
you
didn't have a major twist trying to like, oh, we're going to retell this in a different way. It was, again, I think this is the reason people have had issues. A lot of the remakes is they vary so far off the source material that if you're going to remake something that people, like if you love Lilo and Stitch, you just want to see a live action version of that, not a completely different telling of that story necessarily.
Yeah.
So I think... like with the Hawaii scene, I think it was really good. Like you were saying, I think
which one?
Like just being in Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
Like that part, you know, obviously I think people like that. And then I mean, I agree. I think it was kind of a movie that Disney used to make. Just sort of a feel good, like you walk out feeling like, oh, that was nice. I like that.
So fun fact, the movie was originally, like the animated movie was originally supposed to take place in Kansas.
Really?
And they changed it. They wanted, a couple of reasons, but one main reason was because they wanted him to have landed somewhere that was isolated. So he can't just take off.
Did they not do
somewhere.
it because it was like Superman landed in Kansas?
I don't think that had anything to do with it. I just know that
apparently lots of aliens land in Kansas.
Well, I think they just did it too, just to like tap into a place that they had never done a movie set there before at that time. So it was like, oh, it's something new, it's something different. But I thought that was interesting.
Now, in the cartoon, David, was he I'm trying to remember exactly, I feel like he was more of a cool guy in the cartoon and not as much like in this one. He's a little bit more of like, he obviously likes Nani. Yeah. And he's a little bit more like kind of goofy in this movie versus I don't feel like he was that way. I feel like he was kind of cool in the cartoon.
I don't recall a lot, but maybe he was. I think it was more funny in the
yeah, because I feel like in the cartoon it was like I
actually thought that was pretty funny.
They end up together. This one they just play him a little different, which wasn't. He was still like, you know, they still have him like he's a surfer guy and things like that, but he was very like he would talk to her and clearly like has some sort of crush on her and makes it kind of obvious on that end. But I mean, given where I view live action remakes, I would probably give this like a 7 or an 8. Like it was entertaining.
Yeah,
I didn't care.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8.
Some of the things, like again, like the kind of as the movie wraps up toward the end, I don't like the change they made there. I don't feel like that's one that if the whole thing is Ohana and family, I'll just say that, and certain things like from the original movies, like I just don't feel like that's the choice that had been made. Because as a writing, you can make a different outcome and still have her do. I'm trying to be as vague as I can, and still have her go after what she wants to do, while also still this new reality kind of accepting it.
See, that's the thing. Like I'm conflicted because I see both ways. I'm just like, I don't know, but like I get it. I don't know. It's just more of a more updated, I guess, like situation that might happen.
Well,
you know what I mean? I feel like it's more likely that decision would be made.
I feel like this ending is something very, like I was saying, very modern day versus like if this was made in the 90s, you wouldn't have had the ending like that. Right. Yeah.
I think you're right.
But Stitch is hilarious the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
Like he's, so funny. I mean, all the
and so cute.
I mean, I will say the CGI Stitch, they did a pretty good job.
did a really
It
great
didn't.
job.
It didn't seem like it was bad CGI or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I was kind of surprised. You got Courtney Vance played the Cobra Bubbles. He's a CIA guy.
Yeah.
So the original was voiced by Ving Rhames, and it looked like Ving Rhames in the cartoon. I was kind of surprised they didn't get Ving Rhames because he's still making movies and stuff. That would have kind of been funny.
Maybe he couldn't. Maybe he was too busy doing Mission Impossible.
It could. He may have been busy.
He's still doing that.
It's very, very possible.
He literally is in the Mission Impossible movie that came out the same weekend.
It's very true.
So
That is very, very true.
But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it's one. If you're on the fence about it, like kids will love it. It's a good summer movie. Yeah, pretty simple. Like, what was it? 2 hours long?
Not if that. Like,
yeah,
not even.
Not too long of a runtime. So, I think the trailers were pretty accurate because the trailers look pretty good. And I was like, if it's pretty similar to the trailer, I think this will be a big, hit of a movie. And it was pretty similar to the trailer. So
yeah.
Where's the box office at it right now?
So over the weekend, I want to say it brought in 185. Is that right? 155. It passed projections. Like it was supposed to get like 150. I think it made like 180 something.
So this says yesterday it scores $183 million opening. And I think that's just is that worldwide or just domestically?
No, worldwide it was 300 something.
Yeah. So it's doing very well. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good enough movie because what happens a lot of times now is like those second and third weekends with the drop-offs. If the word of mouth is good, you've seen movies really kind of stay the course. I think the word of mouth, I think for people that like Lilo and Stitch that are, interested in this, I think it's good enough where people will come away saying that they like it. Now, there are a lot of people that are very upset about the changes they did make. Like I was saying, I think that it doesn't ruin the movie by any means, but it definitely that they differ from that in the live action. But I do think it'll probably have a pretty good, like not too much of a drop off in the second weekend and, going into the summer. So that's my guess anyways. We'll see. But with that being said, obviously Disney likes to put IPs from movies into the theme parks.
Uh-huh.
And at one point, you did have a Stitch ride in Disney World, in Tomorrowland.
Well, I have a bunch of history I can share with you, Jared.
Right. So we're going to go through this, the history of Stitch in Disney World, and then what do we think maybe going forward could happen here? So
yeah. All right. So Stitch first appeared as himself in costume, I will say, for the red carpet movie premiere of the original Lilo and Stitch in 2002. That's the first time we ever saw him. He then started appearing as a meet and greet in the parks, again, to promote the movie and whatnot. And then November 16th, 2004, they opened Stitch's Great Escape. And this was a re-theme of the extraterrestrial alien encounter attraction, which scared everybody to death.
that was a scary one for kids.
And even Stitch's Great Escape, like, I'm thinking back, like, it was better. Like, it was supposed to be, like, more funny, but it was still scary for kids. Like, it was still scary.
Yeah. Although you got to think, that's a quick turnaround for something in the parks that quick after that movie.
Yeah.
Like 2 years?
Yeah. That was pretty quick.
Because nowadays, look how long it took them to get, like, Frozen in the parks.
They didn't have to change out, like, the way that the ride worked.
Because it's an alien.
They just changed like it was very minimal stuff.
Yeah.
This is also the same day that the castle was TP'd and graffitied by Stitch. It was only one day, November 16th,
which is kind of funny.
And then it came down the next day, which is still funny.
The maintenance team's like, what? 1 day only? Like, okay.
Yeah. Lilo and Stitch were added to the Ohana character breakfast in October of 2005. And it took me a really long time to find out when that was, by the way. And then Stitch's Great Escape closed for good in July of 2020. Now, it had been running operationally, like seasonally. Like
if it was a really busy day, they would basically run it.
For like 4 years, from like 2016 to 2020. And then they finally like closed it for good in 2020. And now they use it for space of like, they use it for merchandise for Tron, like one time.
Yeah.
And they just use it for like different things that they need. But and as of right now, Stitch is still a meet and greet in Tomorrowland. You can still meet him there. Sometimes he'll occasionally appear other places. He's still at the character breakfast of Ohana along with Lilo. And then this summer you can see him pop up even more at Rocket Tower Plaza when all the dance parties and stuff are going on. So he'll appear there. And then like the Christmas parties and the Halloween parties, he's always in a different costume. Like he's Elvis Stitch and stuff. So a Hawaiian Stitch or with a Hawaiian shirt on. So yeah, he's around. But he's not like prominently featured.
Well, and I think this goes to sort of the popularity that has kind of happened with Stitch is the fact that like it was just, I don't think it was anything Disney was doing themselves or expecting. Yeah. Because if you look at the timeline, I think if they like, I would like to. I'm sure there's a way to look it up of like the sales or the interest of Stitch over time. I feel like it's just kind of gone up gradually now, where it's like he's become this very popular figure in the parks, and they just were like, oh, we didn't really know. Like they weren't doing anything to actively push Stitch. It was just like an organic thing that people kind of ended up liking a lot.
I think they said, I found a stat the other day. It's that the last 5 years, the amount of merchandise that has been sold that's Stitch based or Stitch like interested about is like quadrupled or something.
Yeah.
In the last like, or even more than that, like a huge jump. Yeah, I don't know. People just love it. Or people that liked it as kids are now adults and they're showing their kids and like.
I mean, that could be some of it too. Yeah. Although I will say, I feel like the Stitch meet and greet, he's too big because he's tiny. Like he's like the size of a small dog, and yet you're meeting this massive Stitch.
I mean, we could get a child.
Well, I'm just saying that's one of those things where it's like a cool animatronic. Now, this would be interesting because we've seen, obviously Epic Universe has the animatronic dragon meet and greet. Mm-hmm. An animatronic, like, because you had those animatronic Stitch ones in some of the movie theaters they had put out there for like the promotions.
Oh, I did see those promos.
Something like that, I think, would actually make for a pretty interesting meet and greet. They do that with like BB-8, where it's like you walk up and he just sits there on this like pedestal. Yeah. You put Stitch in a Hawaiian shirt and a chair, and he kind of like interacts with people. Like that would be kind of cool. But yeah, when you see the movies and you see Stitch in the parks, you're like, you're massive. Like
okay, so do you ever see them doing another attraction based on Stitch again?
Honestly, I think it's such an easy win to do it because Stitch is so popular, and given that, whether or not now should they? Yeah, will they? I don't know. They tend to be very slow in this stuff a lot of times, but I don't know the state of Stitch Great Escape of where that is, if it's even operational at this point. I wouldn't.
No, remember they gutted it and they put the merchandise stuff from like Tron and other things.
Did they got the whole ride though?
Had demolition permits that were filed back in 2020. It's gone. Like there's nothing in there.
I mean, I think it would be a successful ride if they, an attraction if they brought in Stitch and did something else.
But there's something about it because it backs up into cosmic rays. Like they can't do certain things with it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
some of those buildings they ran into that in Hollywood Studios, where that's the reason Grand Avenue is still there, is because those facade buildings there were actually part of the structural integrity of another area.
I feel like it's something to do with that.
It could be. I mean, that wouldn't be too surprising.
But I mean, if they use that space again for a different attraction based on Stitch, I wouldn't even know what it would be. They could do a Stitch like live action show.
That would be probably the most the quickest thing they could do. Although I think a Stitch-based dark ride wouldn't be a terrible idea. Again, like being simple about some of these things so that like kind of retell the story are easier things to do. But I think it's one of those things that Disney kind of has a win that's kind of fallen into their lap a little bit with Stitch. And I think I'll be very surprised if they don't do something to capitalize on in the parks.
Yeah. I mean, right now you can get some special food and drink things that they have to promote the movie. So there's that, and his day is coming up June 26th.
Yeah,
the Stitch Day.
Yeah.
So I mean, like they do things for him.
They do. I mean,
it's not on a grand scale.
Yeah. I mean, that building where Stitch Great Escape is interesting because that shut down. Nothing has replaced it. No. There were rumors of Wreck-It Ralph there for a while, and then it's just set empty. And it's just a very strange thing. That's pretty valuable real estate right there. You're coming right off of the hub.
I mean, they've used it for other things, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, the Tomorrowlands in both Disney World and Disneyland are kind of a mess.
Well, they're working on Disneyland's.
They are working at Disneyland,
So-
but like Disney World is like a land without an identity.
Yeah.
Like it
well,
just-
is it future? Is it space?
Well, it's like space,
What are we doing?
Tron Future,
Technology?
computers, and then you have Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor,
Yeah, it's like technology,
and then you have
space,
Buzz
future.
Lightyear. Yeah,
We're just gonna
it just doesn't
Oh.
know. Yeah, it just doesn't know what it is.
or call it something different. Don't call it tomorrow.
I don't think they'll ever change that.
I know, but like it just it implies that it's all about the future. When I mean,
Right.
because it could. I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah, but if I were to bet, I think they do something with Stitch beyond what they've done. I don't know if that's an attraction, but they could do something. I mean, I think they would be. You have this opportunity again. I think it's just kind of an organic thing with Stitch. Like if they took advantage of it, I think they could definitely, profit from it and have a lot of people have interest in it. Probably beyond, to be honest, probably beyond whatever interest there is in like the Cars thing they're bringing to Magic Kingdom. I think there'd be way more interest if they brought in a new like Stitch ride versus a Cars attraction.
Yeah. Probably like this point.
Because at this point, I would say Lilo and Stitch is more popular than Cars, than Monsters Inc., than stuff like that. Like
that's
it is
a bold statement. I don't know.
I don't think it's that bold to say Stitch at this point in time is more popular than Monsters Inc.
At this point in time, okay, I'll give you that. With the new movie out and seeing as how popular it is, yeah, I'll give you that.
And they're getting a whole
give you
land.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think honestly, I think you're right. It's more about him as a character than it is about the original animated movie. I think
completely.
It's definitely about just like mostly the character. Because if it was about the movie, you would see more about the other characters like Lilo. Now she is at Ohana, but that's the only other place you'll ever see her.
But the kids get excited for Stitch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which makes sense. He's kind of like an alien dog. That's mischievous.
He's an alien dog.
Like,
Yes.
I think that's one reason as to why. And people love dogs. So I think, but I don't know. Do you think they'll do something likely? Or do you think they just keep it how it is?
I think he'll be a meet and greet. I think that's a great thing for him to be. I could see maybe them doing some kind of show maybe in the future or something small like that. I personally don't see another attraction based off him. I really don't. Like an actual ride. I just don't see it. But that's totally me. I think that they'll ride this wave of the live action and they may do like another movie. I don't know.
Oh, I think if this makes $1 billion, they'll do a Stitch too.
Yeah. I could see that, but actually more at Disney World parks or even Disneyland. I don't know.
The only thing though is, I mean, I agree. I could see a scenario where they don't. But if for instance, if I was like consulting, I'd be like, okay, you have all these like product sales. Those have been going up. Like it's kind of become this thing where they're making money off those sales, but it's this thing that I think it's an organic thing. The audience wants more of him.
Yeah.
And it's just, I've always said it's interesting what they pick and choose to put into the parks. Like, again, Cars going into Frontierland. They're just like, was anybody, I mean, obviously people like Radiator Springs and what they've done over there in Disneyland, but I don't think anybody was really like, oh my gosh, I want a Cars something. I think if most people want anything, it was like Radiator Springs. I feel like I feel like if you took a survey in the park on a given day, you would have way more people having interest in Stitch than Cars or Monsters Inc. Maybe even Villains. Like, I don't even know. Like, Stitch is really popular. And I think it would be a missed opportunity to not include him in the parks. Because at this point as well, you can also prove, like, it's almost I'm not going to say timeless, but the movie came out in 2002, and it's still insanely popular today. So it has lasting power. So I don't think it's something you would put in the parks, and then within, like, 5 years, like, nobody cares.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Will they do it? I don't know. Should they do it? I think they should.
That's fair.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for the show. So be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Cap the Magic everywhere, including YouTube, where I have daily videos over there covering theme parks and pop culture. A lot of Epic Universe coverage over there about the opening of that and how that park is going. So go check that out. We're over 12,000 subs there. So doing well over there. We also have the video versions of this show at CTM Podcast you can check out. And then we also have other shows on the network. We had CTM Universal Show where we talk about Universal Studios. And that is now a weekly show that we're coming out on every Monday on its own feed. So you can check that out over there. And then Jamie has Trip Tales, which is her trip report show.
Yeah, we'll have a new one out next month. And if you'd like to be a future guest on a Trip Tales episode, you can go to ctmtriptales.com. Give me information about your trip. And if I want to select you for the show, I will contact you.
There you go. And of course, if you like what we do around here, you want to contribute to the show, want to be part of a cool group, you can look at joining Club 32. And that's like our own Patreon. We just hosted it on our own end, but we do live streams in there every Tuesday night. We do a live stream with the members there. Last night we ended up talking about a lot of park stuff and then 90s shows and movies. It was fun.
Oh, yeah.
It was a fun conversation.
CSI Miami.
Yeah, David Caruso and things like that. We also have a private Facebook group. There's a private podcast feed. There's the Clubhouse show. There's music loops on the podcast feed, so you can check out all the extra content there. We have meetups at least twice a year. You get 20% off of CTM apparel and 1901 Candle Company products. And it's a good resource if you're going on a trip and want some extra opinions from people that go to the parks quite a bit, that, answer some questions you might have about trips coming up and things like that. But it's a good resource there. So if you want to go join there, you go to ctmvip.com. We have monthly or yearly options, and you can even do a free trial. And if you do a yearly option, you get a free t-shirt. So you get something for free either way. So if you want to, again, go join there, ctmvip.com. If you'd like to join, we would love to have you. So, all right, well, that's going to do it for the show. So thank you, everybody, for listening and or watching. And thank you, Jamie, for joining us.
Thank you.
And as Jamie always likes to say,
we will see you in the parks.
Bye.